We've known each other actually for quite some time. I never had the pleasure of building any sort of working relationship, but you're actually the aunt of one of my best friends growing up, who I still work with today, 30 years later. And it's a real pleasure to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invitation, and I'm certainly proud of both of you to see what you and, of course, my nephew have accomplished over the years. It's quite amazing. It's really fun.
Oh, thank you for those kind words. I'm beyond impressed by what you've built. You're a surgeon by trade, but you've been an entrepreneur all your life. Tell us a little about that.
I don't know if it's all my life, but maybe. I think you're kind of born with that spirit. So, yeah, at a very early age, decided I wanted to go into medicine, although I didn't really know what that meant. I certainly didn't understand how long it would take, but I had the blessing of doing that. And I was actually, as an undergrad, I majored in physiology and anatomy. And I just was so amazed by the human body. So that stuck with me. And then through medical school, as soon as I did a surgical rotation, even though it was brutal, I decided, you know what? I think I want to go into surgery. And believe it or not, at that time, which wasn't that long ago, the dean tried to talk me out of it. He was like, surgery is a man's field. You're not going to have a life. It's very challenging. And he was right, but I made my way. And then
Interesting.
after I actually did my residency at Stanford, and it was very long. It was 7 years. And at that time, we didn't have limitations on our work hours. So we were working about 120 hours a week,
Wow.
roughly.
This was the breast cancer fellowship program that you finished, correct? I believe.
Well, no, I did my residency in general surgery first. And then I did 2 additional years to that. 1 year was a fellowship in reconstruction, really, with
Mhm.
a plastic surgeon. So I did a fellowship at that time. And then I did a year at the NIH doing just basic science research with Dr. Mark Lipman, who is really well known. He's an oncologist. So just wanted to understand the technical surgical aspects and try to make things different. And I think that's where I brought that entrepreneurial spirit to surgery, because I started doing different types of incisions and getting creative, which is a little risky in surgery. You have to take a calculated risk, I would say.
Right.
So during the course of my work at Stanford and afterwards, I had the fortune really of meeting Dr. Thomas Fogarty, who is probably really the granddaddy of medical device development. And I got a phone call from him one day, and he said, "Do you have any ideas, to develop in the breast field?" And I said, yes. And that's what started my entrepreneurial adventure.
Amazing. It's one of those stories that started out with your own medical experience that you spent so many years in school, over 120 hours a week, and that's incredible. Do you practice still?
No, I actually, right now, I'm not practicing, although I maintain my licenses and my board certification. I've done that. But at a certain point, I was doing both. I was starting companies, developing products, and in full time clinical practice for most of my career. And then at a certain point, I realized, okay, this is too much. I was doing two startups at one time. And so we actually sold one of them, and then I had to go full time to really give it my all, because it was a breast surgery product we were working on. And I knew it was going to take sort of my full time effort.
Tell us a little bit more about the products that you've brought to the market. Are they all in the field of surgery? I know the most recent one has a definite relation to dental surgery.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you're an entrepreneur. I know you probably have the same experience. You have ideas all day long. The question is, which are the good ones? Like, which do you really go after? Because you can't do them all. And you have to be able to sort those out, which I've learned over the years. There are certain characteristics that lead you to success versus those, because I see a lot of entrepreneurs who have great ideas, but they can never bring it to fruition. So
Right.
there's kind of a recipe for doing that. And most of my ideas come from a clinical need. Like I'll be at a meeting and I'll be listening to something and it'll spark an idea. And most of them have been outside the field of surgery, which is really interesting.
Amazing. The dental-based product, I'm not sure if I should even call it dental-based product, but it's called NasoClenz, if I'm not mistaken.
It's called NasoClenz, and it's not actually a dental-based product, but it's close. It's a nasal product, and it's like a toothbrush for your nose. So I guess it is related, and it certainly has applications in dentistry. It addresses kind of a long time need that's been ignored, which is cleaning our nose. We do a good job. We wash our hands religiously because we understand that bacteria is in the air and germs are in the air and allergens and pollutants and all sorts of things that we touch. But then we touch our faces. We generally touch our faces, anywhere from 3 to 7 times an hour. And so we're depositing that stuff, and our nose filters the air that we breathe. So it only kind of makes sense that we should be cleaning our noses and not probably with our fingers. So
Absolutely.
That's what we've done.
Yeah, I would imagine there's more of an awareness from the patient pool population with COVID and all, understanding to keep their airway cleaner.
I think there's an amazing heightened awareness. We did start this company before that all happened. Nonetheless, it's a problem that we're aware of in surgery. And I think most dentists are keenly aware of the aerosolized particles that are in the air and the droplets. And I think dentists, more than anyone else, are on the front lines when it comes to taking care of themselves, their own nasal passages and obviously oral care, but as well as their patients and their staff. So if you look at the scientific literature in dentistry, it's pretty clear that aerosols are a problem. And that's where I see nasal hygiene as being important for the people who work in dentistry, and perhaps even, just having your patient do a quick cleansing of their nostrils before they have a procedure.
Can you give us a rundown as far as like how it works?
Sure. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between sprays and rinses and this new device? And it's very similar, analogous to dentistry, right? You can lavage your mouth with a mouthwash, or you can brush it with a toothbrush and some toothpaste. And so we've developed a very soft cleansing wand, which is an applicator for a specially formulated gel that we've created. So it's clear, it's odorless, although we do have a mint formulation, but it's odorless to begin with. It's clear, it's very gentle, it's moisturizing, and it has an active ingredient, which is benzalkonium chloride. So you get in there and it's very soft. So it's just like a toothbrush. It's very soft, flexible, and it has leaflets on it. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah, I could see it. And it's almost like a little like styrofoam screw.
Sort of. It has little ribs on it. And these leaflets, when you rotate the leaflets, it provides a cleaning surface. And then when you rotate in the other direction, they flip over. So it provides a second cleaning surface. Mm-hmm. And it deposits the gel as it's doing it. You don't have to rinse your nose afterwards or blow your nose or anything. So that's what we've done.
Interesting. So explain this to me. My scientific knowledge is not there. You have aerosol that's floating around in the environment. A human being breathes it in. Does the aerosol, it could potentially sit in the interior wall of the nostril and potentially enter into the actual body. And being a virus, we don't want that. So this is an ability to cleanse it out before it actually gets sucked into the body.
You've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, we breathe through our mouth and our nose, but the nose is responsible for filtering and humidifying the air. So it's a direct pathway into our lungs, into the respiratory system. Now, it passes through the sinuses as well. But the first stop is the nostril, which has the cilia, which are the hair inside the nose. And that acts as a filter. So any air that you breathe, and you can breathe up to 7,000 liters of air a day through your nose, Any air that you breathe, the particles, the particulate matter will get caught up there. And we produce mucus to try to deal with that. But in this day and age, with wildfires and ash in the air and allergens and toxins from cars and things like that, there is a lot of particulate matter in the air that we breathe. So the nose can become overwhelmed. And most people will have that experience where the mucus actually can plug up your nose, or it can get crusty in there. And ultimately, that can get deposited in the sinuses. If there are germs in there, they love our sinuses because it's nice and moist and warm. And they can grow, and then they get inhaled into your lung and can cause trouble.
How long has the product been in the market for?
Well, we're just entering the market, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gearing up, and we have gone into the field to get validation from ear, nose, and throat doctors and allergists and respiratory therapists, pharmacists. And then this summer, we will be releasing a new packaging for consumers. We're in about 41 pharmacies at the moment. And, you got to walk before you can run. That's really important in the startup environment. Got to walk before you can run, make sure everything is successfully executed. We do have a website where consumers can buy directly. So we have a three-prong approach to the market. And one of those is clinical in the medical and the dental area. One is direct e-commerce, and one is retail.
Mm-hmm. How has the dental community feedbacked or commented on any of this, or have you not had much feedback from them yet?
Well, we're really just dipping our toe in the water. I think this was a great opportunity for me to be able to speak to a lot of dentists. In every profession, there are early adopters and late adopters. So we're looking for some dentists who have that innovative entrepreneurial spirit, who understand what we're trying to do, who we can work with as dental champions. And we're really excited about that, but we haven't really done much work there yet. So it's a perfect time to get to know some dentists.
Sure. So common procedure, or if not the most common procedure that this application would work well for, would be like, let's say, sinus lifts, where you want to keep a cleanse in the area before and after the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be any other applications that like a dentist would want to prescribe this for their patient? I know it's over the counter, right? I say prescribed.
Yeah, it's over the counter. Absolutely. I think even cleaning your teeth, again, there are a lot of aerosols. So I would think that the staff at a minimum would want to clean their nose maybe afterwards, maybe at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day,
mm-hmm.
or have your patients do it. Like a lot of dentists have the patient rinse with mouthwash before they get in the chair. Similarly, you would have them, give their nose a really good cleaning, because they're breathing in and out through their nose while you're working in their mouth.
Right. And there must be something to be said about all the microplastic particles that you breathe in from wearing face masks all day. I read an article a few weeks ago. I think it was talking about how scientists have discovered some of the plastic micro components that a face mask has in the lungs of patients. I'm imagining it's because they're just wearing the face mask for so long, over a year during the pandemic, that it eventually went through their nostril and eventually went through their lung.
Absolutely. Anyone wearing a face mask more than 4 hours a day is at risk for developing upper respiratory illness. 80% of all respiratory illnesses begin with germs that come through the nose. So it is really important. I think that even in ancient times, people recognize the importance of the nose. I think it's time to pay the nose some respect and keep it clean, because they really did. They had processes known as Ayurvedic cleansing. They used special oils, herbal oils, and things like that, because they understood the importance of the nose as the gateway to the body. And I think it's high time.
Yeah, indeed. You've had such an amazing career, not just as a doctor, but as an entrepreneur that has had many exits in the past. I'm actually astonished. What advice do you have for any entrepreneurs out there that may be listening? Because I've noticed a lot of clinicians out there, whether doctors or dentists, they've started to venture to start their own product or what have you. Any advice you have for any of them out there?
Well, thank you for those kind words. It's a lot of hard work. I think if you bring your passion to your work, that helps. And in the beginning, you have to really start slow. I think most people get so excited about what they're doing. They tend to tell everybody about it, and they want to talk to the big people first, and they want to go top down. But you really have to go from the bottom up. You really have to build a strong foundation. And sometimes it takes longer than you would like. But don't look at the clock. Just do the right thing. Make sure you have all the stepping stones in place. Walk before you run, and then go get them.
Amazing. Thank you for those pearls of wisdom. How can people get a hold of the product?
We have a website, NasoClenz.com. It's NasoClenz.com. And they can get a hold of the product, they can get a hold of us, and they can get a hold of me.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing how the paradental community and the dental community receives your product. It's been a pleasure to have you on our show today. I really, really appreciate it. I know you're tuning in from outside the country today. And so it's really been a pleasure with you, Dr. Lebovic.
Thanks. Likewise, it's a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to our next podcast where we bring a dentist on who's been using NasoClenz.
I would love that.
That'll be fun.
The first dentist that sees that and responds and would like to volunteer, I'll forward them over your name, or they can get in touch with you directly.
Perfect.
Thanks for your time today.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.